All right, we're going to get it started just like this. This is a Sci-Fi Express Lane. Jeff Carroll. I want to get on this, even though it's like the only topic that is probably time sensitive that I deal with, or that we deal with in science fiction, and that is post-apocalyptic or futuristic speculation. You know, I hate to say that it's called apocalyptic speculation, but to be honest, it's futuristic speculation, and apocalypse is a negative thing. So apocalypse is like, the Bible started this nonsense, that the world's got to end with a horrible ending, and whether it happens or not, we don't know now. And the earth has been around for millions of years, and we don't know if an asteroid is predictable or not. You know what I'm saying? So whether it's going to be 2012 or whatever the day or time, whether it's mathematically feasible, I don't know. Socially, based on social decay in human behavior, like in the series The Foundation, or not. We kind of really don't know. Now, this is called the importance of futuristic urban speculation. I don't know what to call it, but I don't want to call it post-apocalyptic discussion, because I don't want to make an apocalypse seem like it is inevitable. And it's not inevitable, and it's not the only thing we should be discussing. So, what was a TV show? DMZ with Rosario Dawson. It was one of the ones that I was really looking forward to. And Leave the World Behind, right? This new one with Julia Roberts and Mahershala Ali has got everybody talking. But before that, we had the TV show or the movie with I'm going to say Patrick Swayze, but I can't remember all. Kiefer Sutherland, Red Dawn, the original, and I think that was in the 80s. Red Dawn, and Red Dawn dealt with a World War invasion from Cuba and Russia, right? And they invaded the Midwest and divided up the country around the Western Plain. So the eastern cities and probably California wasn't, but just the northern, probably to the Great Lakes, was invaded by Cuba and Russia. How the heck Cuba got over all of the Florida and all of the South, I have no idea, but there was a part of it. And you have this show DMZ, which is made New York City a demilitarized zone because the rest of America is at war, and New York City, the island of Manhattan, is just a neutral site. How that happened, they really didn't get into it, and in the comic book, they kind of explain it a little bit, but because the story is dealing with the goings on in the DMZ, it really doesn't deal with what's going on outside, because Manhattan, although it makes a good demilitarized zone, the location of it is not good politically, because it's a sidebar. It's outside the main continent of the United States, so it doesn't really look good for that, but the island itself is containable, and that really works. So it works like that. But if you really want to have like a demilitarized zone, then pick Washington DC. That's central. That's division of North and South. Use that if you was going to do it. Now, Leave the World Behind. Leave the World Behind has a lot of people talking, but it sort of kind of could be in the same world as Farnham's Freehold. There's people whose latent racism seem like it gets the best of them, and it challenges their racial continents, and it challenges our society and what we think would happen with the average person who's not a member of a militia, who's not a member of a black political or army or militia, right? Or white militia, neutral parties. But then you have something like this new one called Civil War. I think that's what made everybody really think about the elephant in the room and really break down a racial division in America, sort of on the lines of what we thought January 7th would have looked like if we would have had a bigger blowout on January 6th. If they would have actually gone through and been successful, then what people thought might have happened was played out. Civil War seems like that. It is, radicals or reformists versus radicals, right? You got the extreme liberals and you got the extreme conservatives. So you got your radical extreme liberals, and then you got your extreme conservatives, your reformists. They don't just have conservative values, but they want to go and actively change things back to whatever they feel they were. And that's what Civil War is about. And Civil War is yet to come out. So I like all of those things. Red Dawn was really cool. It did with the Russia thing, but it got into the story. It didn't stay and wallow in the politics. It was all white people, so you didn't really have any racial context. But it connected to people because we are just coming out of a Cold War, and the Cold War lingers with you. So sometimes you don't believe people won't do what they do, what they were going to do before. And so that Cold War stuff still lingers with you. However, it wasn't a nuclear threat, so it was a regular boots on the ground invasion, and they fought it as such. What's the other one? Red Dawn, Lead the World Behind. DMZ, that just played out kind of cultural context of New York City. It was like, and it really wasn't post-apocalypse. It was, or post-apocalyptic. It was just different scenario. And, living in a demilitarized zone, kind of reminding people probably of the Gaza Strip. What it would live like there, where any minute the political climate can change and supplies can go down. People are not really members of any country. They're just playing the fence, and they, can go at each other with, some loose form of street justice, and that's what goes on in the DMZ. So it wasn't necessarily focused on the post-apocalypse, or a civil breakdown, but it was definitely set in a world that was different than our world. We had free states, we had American traditional states that was part of a union, and those that was outside the union, and then you had the demilitarized zone. So that's kind of it where I'm at with all those. I liked DMZ because, of course, I was born in New York and I grew up like miles from it, 10 miles from New York. And, seeing New York, Latinos, whites, blacks, played against each other, it was better than Escape from New York, which made New York a prison. But this was cool. But the comic book definitely had more story to it than, I think the series was like four or 6 part. It was really a mini series. Would have probably been better as a movie, and that way we'd have felt like we got more of a complete story. But anyway, talking about these post-apocalyptic stories, I was talking to somebody about, doing a panel at a revolutionary convention, something like the African National Action Network, Reverend Sharpton's organization. And I was trying to explain to them, why is this important for us to talk about? And not just me, just like the whole subject of it And what is important about it is, one, it's an important subject. Like, where are we all going? Where is this going? Where is race relations going? Where is this open border, closed border? Where is this Democratic, Republican, Trump world going? These hate groups, where is this all going? What does it look like for America? America was a big experiment. And that, we're Americans. And that conversation is good for us. It's a good conversation for us to have. So I like it. Now, beyond that, is there any usefulness in it? Well, shoot, speculation is always useful. Science fiction is always useful, whether it's speculating about something as far away as the stars, or if it's something as real as the urban future of racial mixing, right? All of that is important, because sometimes it gets us to see the value of things, good things that we're doing now. Be like, yeah, that really will be valuable. Make people think about different careers when they're going out. And then also for the things that's wasted, it'll make us stop focusing on stuff that's not going to be around tomorrow. That's not really big in the big picture, right? So, you know, the future is a bigger picture than the present, because the future includes everything that's present and goes in the future of it. So that's a bigger picture. It's not bigger picture, not only just wider, but bigger picture can be bigger in years, and the future is greater years. So talking about the future is useful in all communities, specifically the African American community and the Latino community, you know, international Black and brown communities. It's always important, because sometimes we're living so much in the moment. We get caught up so much in our present day fight, right? Our present day struggle. We don't make plans for the future. We don't even think about it. And if you don't think about it, you can't plan for it. You can't prepare for it. So futuristic speculation. Do you know how to fish? Do you know how to exercise? Do you know basic medicine? Some of those things you just don't want to learn at the end of the world. You want to have an idea of those things before you go to the end of the world. I know we're looking at college and getting jobs and the immediate future, but, you know, say the world gets sidetracked and Mother Nature hits us with a curveball. Or do you think these racial situations are realistic? I mean, we've seen in many movies that we are just a nutcase away from being in a world war panic, you know, a nuclear war, you know, is just a button away. So these things, the future post-apocalypse is sort of fragile. I know people love Mad Max, we love Book of Eli. There was another one called The World, and those are disastrous futures. Sheesh, no, nobody want to live in that. But it could end up that way. And a nuclear war can destroy us, and all of the earth can look desolate, you know, with certain parts. Or it could be a natural disaster, like 2012. We have a lot of disasters. There ain't nothing for the earth to configure the continents and the crust in a different way and cause flooding that wipes out all life on earth or makes it very few people. That's not a hard thing to do. It's not impossible. You know, we may get warning, you know, we may get a few years warning, but it ain't like we could do anything to stop it. And if we do get a warning, believe me, the world that we will live in will not have people saving for the future. People will be living in the moment, and it will be chaos. So I think that's real. So I don't know. I think it's also something that Black people need to speculate about. I did it in my Harlem Shake series and in my last Harlemite comic book. But I even want to dig deeper in it. I want to do a real specific one on the racial future, the future of race relations. So that's it, man. Like, subscribe, share, and this is really just my thoughts and my pondering over different things. So don't expect any more than what you just got now. I do have harsh opinions, but right now I'm just speculating. All right, like, subscribe, share, and leave me a comment. Deuces.